What's up guys, Reuben from Drumeo here. I just want to share with you guys a legendary hi-hat trick, and it's called hi-hat fanning. You've probably seen many of the jazz greats use this, like Buddy Rich or Joe Mayer or some of these other, Max Roach especially, and I want to break this down for you guys and kind of show what's going on. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. One is to do this with singles, but I'm going to show you the version with doubles because it's just what I like to do. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to hold the stick. I'm using traditional grip in this hand, but the actual grip is not quite traditional grip. It's going to look something like this. So traditional grip, start there. You're going to move it kind of up here into these two fingers and pinch it with your thumb. Not too tight though. You don't want to go like this. You want to kind of keep that space there. And it's just going to rest under this finger right here. So that's the grip for your left hand. And that's exactly what we're going to do this motion with. So all I'm doing is coming up from the bottom and also coming down from the top afterwards. And while I'm hitting this hi-hat, I'm kind of doing this kind of motion with my stick just to make it easier for me to hit those surfaces. Not too much though, it's not like a really exaggerated motion, it's just very slightly. So the first step is to basically just get comfortable with doing that, try to build up the speed a little bit, and then eventually you can start moving in your right hand. And this trick is basically, the pattern for it looks like this. So we're just going to play one stroke and then fill it up with doubles here. And then use the fanning motion. And then you can slowly start building up the speed. So this is actually one of 8 legendary hi-hat tricks that I teach inside Drumeo Edge for a whole course that has about 8 lessons inside of it. So if you liked what you see here, head on over to drumeo.com, sign up, and check out this lesson series.